Hey guys, good afternoon, everybody. Today is Monday, February 13th. It is 2 p.m. right now. Our scheduled mentoring session for the week is at 2 p.m. So I'm just going to go ahead and set up this room real quick, and then we will get started shortly with our session for today. Just give me a few moments to finish updating everything, and we should be good to go. A couple more things here to update. That's good. All right, solid. Everything looks like it's good to go. Let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium group. All right, so I'll get a few moments for people to make their way in, and then we will get started shortly. Hey, Van Howard, how's it going? All right, guys, so it looks like people are making their way in, so I'll get a few more moments for people to trickle their way in. I'm going to go ahead and post this link up on our social media real quick. Got it on there, one last place. Let's take a screenshot of this. Hey, iPhone, how's it going? Good afternoon, everybody. So today is Monday, February 13th. It is 2 p.m. right now. Our scheduled sessions for 2 p.m. If you guys were on the live session today, it was a pretty good session for a Monday. You know, typically Mondays are usually hit or miss because the market's usually kind of iffy. But today was actually pretty solid, so it was a good thing. If there's any questions that you guys have or anything you guys want me to cover, feel free to put your questions in the chat. I don't have any specific agenda for today. My main goal here is to help out with whatever you guys need help with regarding any of the strategies, any issues you have with the platform, or anything in general, really. If there's any questions that you guys have, drop them in the chat. I typically just set up these sessions for you guys, so it's pretty much a Q&A. So with whatever questions you guys have, go ahead and drop them. Otherwise, I'll probably just look over the trades from today. We had a lot of trades come up today, so there'll be good examples for you guys to take a look at. But if not, we'll be on for as long as there's questions. And I think, the trades from today will probably take up most of the session anyways. So, all right, looks like majority of you guys are here. It looks like the average for today. Let's see, M9 is asking, sometimes you get into a trade late and you set up your MT4 to fill in order. How do you do that? So let me, so I'm trying to I want to drag my MT4 over, but I don't want to expose my account. See if there's a way to hide my account number. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a way. Because this is my new 400K account. Last thing I want is for someone to try to hack into my account. So let me see if there's a way I can show you. Well, I'll kind of explain to you, M9. Honestly, I would show you. Let me see if I have a trial account I could probably log into here to show you. The market's closed right now, so I couldn't even show you if I wanted to. But So the way that I enter into the trade is if you want to put a pending order, you're just going to right click on your chart, right? Wherever you want to enter the trade. And then you can set a buy limit or a sell limit, depending on what type of order you're trying to place. The market's closed right now. So there isn't anything for you to place right now, but let me see if I could find a login for, because I do think I have a trial account where I can just swap out right now, just so that you guys, I don't want to expose my funded account login number, because there's a lot of weirdos out there who try to like log into someone's account. Let me see if I could just let's see, trial account. Okay, so this is a trial account that let me just log into it. It's a trial account that I just use to show people examples. I'll log into it right now. I don't want to put my funded info on here. I mean, I could care less if someone messes with my demo. Okay. Want to make sure this is not my actual account. Okay, this is not my account. Okay, I'm gonna drag this over real quick. So this is what my MT4 looks like, right? If you want to enter a trade late, I mean, this is something that like you have to practice on your own, because it's the same as entering any type of other order. It's nothing special. You're just entering a pending order, or you can enter right away. So I can't show you entering an order right now because the market's closed. Obviously, it's not moving. Swap time right now is 2 to 3. So I can't enter anything and show you an example, but there's a couple different ways to do it. Like what Van Harwig mentioned over here is Sean using the quick trade manager. If you're using the quick trade manager over here, if you want to enter late, you're just going to enter a late trade, right? So for example, here's one way of doing it. So if you're going to enter a trade late, or let me just change this a little bit. So if you're going to enter a trade late, like say, for example, your price is coming down right here and you're expecting it to push back up, right? If you're going to enter trade late, when it gets to your entry point, you just enter a buy order there. That's going to be a late entry. But the way that I personally do it is I have a pending order, right? So I'll right click on here, and then I'll go to trading, and then I'll set a buy stop right here, right? That's typically how I would set the order. I would just right click, right? Like say, I know there's no entry right here, but say for example, there's an entry at this point and I want to get in right here. I'm going to right click, go to trading, set buy stop. It's not going to place the order because the market's closed. But if the market was open, it would set the buy stop right there. There'd be a pending order. And then from there, you can go in and you can adjust your TP stop loss. It's basic math. If you're going for 100 pips, you're just going to add 10 to the points. So like right now it's 42, or it's 342.42, right? What's 10 points above that? Basic math. Add 10 to that. It's 34,252, right? You just add a number and that'd be your TP. And if your stop loss, if it's 300 pips, it's 34,2042. You'll just change that to 34,2012, right? It's just simple math. I can't show you an example here because the market's closed, but that's basically how you would do it. There's two different ways of doing it, like what Van Hartwig mentioned. If price gets to your entry point, you just hit buy. You already have your TP stop loss set up right there. And then if you wanted to set a pending order, you would just right click right there, go to trading, buy stop if you're looking for a buy, and then vice versa. If you're looking for a sell, it's the same thing. Like say, for example, price is coming down right here, it traced up a little bit, and you're trying to enter somewhere down here, you right click, trading, sell stop, right? And then typically you'll have this order window come up. It'll have your entry point at wherever, and then you can make the adjustments from there. So does that make sense, M9? I wish I could show you, but the market's closed right now. Yeah, no problem. Those are the two ways of doing it. If you're looking for a buy, typically put a buy stop, and then vice versa. If you're looking for a sell, you put a sell stop, or you can just enter right away for market execution. Just up to preference. Since we're scalping, it doesn't really matter. I mean, you can, if you're like quick, then you can just enter right away with the. You can even enter at drawdown. Like say for example, so for my entry today, right, I entered that trade a little late. The first buy, right? So for this one right here, or one of these, I entered this one late. So what I did was I put a buy stop there and then it just filled it. But typically if I'm like in drawdown and I know price is going to swing up, I'll just enter a buy and I'll get in for a discount. So there's different ways of doing it. It's just really up to preference. All right, so that's that. Let's see. Next question here. And that's it for that question. No problem, M9. Daniel said, can't make it today at the wage job. All good. Replay will be posted after. Question from Alan. Alan is asking, hello, Sean, with the gold bars, how will I know if it's a long or short? So, I mean, the easiest way to look at it is to look at the previous candle, right? So for example, right here, this is a gold bar, right? The previous one's a red one. So what do you think the next one is? It's a buy, right? Because it's opposite from each other. So it's green, red, green, red, green, red. For example, this gold bar again over here, the one prior to it's red. So what's next going to be? Green, right? This one again right here, this one's red, next one, green. This one over here, the one before it is green. So this one's got to be red. It goes, you know, it changes from green to red. So like if you go to the momentum indicator again here, and you turn off the gold bars, you can see there that everything goes from green to red. It never overlaps. So you have a green bar, red bar, green bar, red bar, etc. Green, red, green, red, green, red. You turn on the gold here, and you just do the same thing. Like, you know, any of these here, like this is a gold bar. Previous one to that is green, so it's got to be red, and then vice versa over here. Red bar, gold bar, which is typically going to be green. Red bar, green bar, red bar, green bar, etc. I know it's kind of confusing because, to be honest, Alan, it confuses me as well. But the thing is, like, if I'm looking for specific movements here, like for example, this morning we were looking for, I believe, buys, right? Yeah, all my entries today were buys. So pretty much all morning, we were pretty much just looking for a green bar. But the easiest way and the quickest way to really understand, you know, what the color is under the gold bar is just look back at the previous one. If it's red, it's got to be green. If it's opposite green, it's got to be red. Does that make sense, Alan? If it's still confusing, just let me know, and then I could try to find a better example. But I think it's pretty self-explanatory. It's just green after red, red after green. And long means green, so Alan's asking not the color of the bar, it's the candle in the bar. I mean, the color, it's the color is in there. Can you not see the color on your screen? Because you can see the color. It's pretty like clear to me. Is it too hard? Because you can change the colors if it's too bright or too light. I know Angelo's like colorblind, so it's kind of hard for him. But not sure if are you colorblind too, Alan? Because if you are, you can just change the colors. Like if you can't see the colors there, you can always just go into. Oh well, so what's your question? Let me see. If you can maybe phrase your question a little differently, because I'm not really sure what you mean by like long or short, because long just means price is going up. This means long, right? If it's short, that means price is going down. So yeah. Yeah, so if maybe you should just maybe if you could rephrase your question, that'd probably be better, because I'm not really getting where your question's at, but I can kind of decipher if you can like maybe rephrase it or ask it in a different way. Okay, so you said, so pick any gold bar. Okay, it's a gold bar right here, right? So we'll just work on this one right here. So what would your question be if we were referring to this gold bar right here? Yes. So if it's a green bar, which is basically what this would be because it's right after a red one. So that'd be a green bar, right? See, Alan said it's okay. Was there like a specific thing that you didn't get, Alan? Because I just want to make sure, because maybe somebody else has the same question. I just want to make sure, because you're new. I'm kind of curious, like, what were you confused about? Oh, because you're like wondering if it's I think your question is whether it's a valid signal, right? I think that's your question. So you're asking, how do you know if it's valid or not, right? I'm guessing that's what your question is. Because Okay. Yeah, because so here, I'm just going to explain what a valid signal is. So there's no long or short. Your question is kind of like, because you're asking, is it long or short, right? There's no analysis to saying whether it's long or short. This just means price is going up, right? If you're long, that means you're buying. Long means buy. So if you, uh, I think your terminology, you're kind of mixing the terminology of long equals buy. If you're long and you're buying, right? Vice versa. If you're short, equals sell. If you're short, you're selling. So this is the terminology. I think this is kind of where you're confusing it because you're asking, are you long or are you short? There's no long or short to it. It's just, okay, if you're buying, then you're long. If you're short, then you're selling. But just because the bar is gold or green or whatever color it is, that doesn't mean whether you're long or short. It just means that's where the momentum is going. So long and short is tied into like what type of position you're in. But just because you get a momentum there doesn't mean you're in the position, right? Like that's what the requirements are for with regard to the Ellen said, oh, so the bar is not a signal, it's where the market is going. Yeah, exactly. There's no strategy just off. I mean, I've seen people trade that way with my indicators, but there's no strategy that I have where you're just looking for a green signal and that means to enter a buy. Yeah, no, you're fine. You're brand new, so it's not like you should know this stuff right off the bat. But yeah, I mean, I specifically don't trade that way, but there's ways of trading that way. So like, for example, you know, the strategy that we apply, the momentum scalp. So that's a strategy, but it's not just based off momentum. So you look over here at the momentum scalp, that's like one of the entries that came up today. So for example, right here, we have a green momentum signal, right? So confirm overall trend. We already knew the trend was bullish from this morning, right? We were looking for straight buys all morning. You confirm momentum on the 5-minute, 10-minute, and 1-minute. So in order to confirm that, you can just turn on the gold bars. It pretty much does it for you. So you don't have to actually look for it. You just turn on, you're like, okay, if this is gold, then this means that there's a buy signal on the 1-minute, 5-minute, and 10-minute. So with having that on right there, you pretty much confirmed all the requirements. So there's no one requirement where you're just like, okay, if there's a gold bar, you have to enter the trade. For this strategy here, you have to confirm the trend first. So you want to make sure price is above the pivots, trend meters green. There's like multiple requirements here. So one of the requirements is momentum, right? We have the momentum here. Confirming trend, we have price above the pivots and the trend meter down below is also green. So we got a couple things checked off right there. And then you confirm the trend on the other time frames. It's also above the pivots, trend meters green, pivots are angling up, everything's lined up. So with that said, then you could take an entry with this here. So I think the way that you were looking at it, Ellen, is that you were kind of skipping the other steps, which is completely fine. You know, this is new to you, so it's not like you should know everything right away. But there's like other requirements that you put into the analysis here. But the thing is, if like the trend is strong, you can literally take like every buy signal because you have like half of the strategy put together. So the strategy that you're looking at, Alan, is basically everything except the first one, which is the main one. So you can't move on to the next steps unless you've confirmed everything else, right? So you've pretty much confirmed all three down here with that gold bar, right? Because in order to have momentum on the 10, 5, and 1, you need a gold bar, right? So you pretty much confirmed all this here, but you missed like the main criteria here. But since you're on the live session, since I'm already telling you like, hey, this is what we're looking for. We're looking for a buy, or we're looking for a sell, then it's not really a big deal because I'm already confirming that for you. But if you're trading on your own, it would be important that you confirm the overall trend. So this is the first step. Once you confirm this, then you can go to your gold bar. Once you have that gold bar, you take the trade there, and that would be a long position. So that's how you would know whether you're long or short, because looking at the trend here, if the overall trend is if the overall trend is bullish, then you're always going to go long. If the overall trend is bearish, then you're always going to go short. So yeah, you're halfway there, but you know, since on the live session, I'm pretty much explaining everything real time. It's not really necessary for you to like really have all this down. But I think now that we've broken it down, you're starting to understand everything. Gotcha. Awesome. Yes, you put me on the big screen now so you can see everything. That's perfect. Yeah, that's kind of what Kenny does too. I don't know if Kenny's here right now, but Kenny does the same thing. He has he has me on like his 42-inch. He's got me on the big screen every morning for the live. Yeah, so I think that answers your question, right, Alan? If there's anything else that you're confused about, feel free to drop your questions. This session is all for you guys. So whatever you guys are confused with, there's no dumb questions here, guys. So just keep that in mind. I don't want you guys to feel nervous or shy to ask questions because you think it's a dumb question. But realistically, this session's here for you guys. The only way you guys will get better is if you guys, ask the questions that you guys need help with. So, all right, Alan. No problem. Let's see. Let's see. Allison said you can change it on TV to a lighter color. Yeah. So what I do here, guys, is if you just add the momentum indicator like default, I think it's pretty bright, right? So if you go to, let me turn this off first. Yeah, so you can see it's like a really bright green. There's a couple of people in the group. I didn't realize that they were colorblind, but they're like really colorblind. So if this is a problem for you where you can't really see shades like this because the shades are too bright, what you can do is you can go to your style and you can change the entire color. So I don't know what the shades of colorblind is like because I'm just not familiar with it, but you guys can just color it black and then you can color like red, like a lighter gray, if that helps. Again, I'm not sure because I'm not colorblind myself, so I can't really tell you how it looks in my perspective, but if you guys just need to change the shades of color, you guys can change the shades of color. Just go to your settings here, go to style, and then the green ones are obviously the green bars. You can change that to black if you like. The red ones are red, but you can change that to gray if you like. It's just really up to preference. Let's see, Alan said, if I wanted your charts, what would I need to do? So, if you want your charts to look exactly like mine, so I have 3 charts on like this, Alan, and I'll kind of just show you guys my setup here. So what you need to do first is you need to click on this button up here. I don't know if you guys can see this because I don't know if my face is blocking it. I know I have my screen on the screen, so I'm not sure if like you guys can see my marker over here, but there's like a chart button up here. You'll go to 3 and you'll have the ones where the 3 are right next to each other. Click on that first and then turn on symbol and crosshairs. So you'll have the same settings as mine here. And then on your chart, if you're on YM, you just click on the screen, type in YM. It's going to be the first one here, YM. So it'll have, once you click on that, it'll show everything on your chart here. And the main indicators that I have on every chart, you don't have to have the volume on every chart. You can if you like, but I don't have them on mine. I just have it on my 1 minute because I like to keep everything clean. So the indicators that I have on like almost every time, indicators always on, are going to be the K2 momentum indicator. It's also known as proprietary systems. K2 pivots indicator, K2 sessions indicator, K2 trend meter, and volume indicator. So once you have the 3 charts up like that, Alan, you're just going to go into each square. You'll click on each square, and then you'll turn on these indicators that I have right here. So the K2 momentum indicator, it's identified as a K2 proprietary trading systems. I try to change it in the system, guys, but I can't change it. It's like the default name. So if you go to invite only scripts, it's going to be this one right here, the momentum indicator, and then the K2 pivots indicator. If you go over to indicators, invite only scripts, it's K2 pivots, K2 sessions indicator, or it'd be the K2 sessions high low, sorry. K2 sessions high low. Actually, I have the high low indicator on here as well. So K2 sessions high low. You don't need the K2 high low, but I just have it up because I like having where the high lows are. But yeah, basically K2 momentum, K2 sessions high low, K2 high low, K2 trend meter down below, and the volume indicator. So once you have your 3 charts up, open up the symbol, change this to the 1 minute, change this to the 5 minute, change this to 10 minute. In order to do that, just click on your chart, you type in 1, type in enter, it'll change your time frame there. If you want the 5 minute there, you'll just click on the chart again, type in 5, hit enter. You have the 5 minute chart there, and then the 10 minute right here, you click on that, type in 10, enter the 10 minute chart. So that's pretty much it. If there's anything else that you can't get on your chart, Alan, just let me know and I'll try to show you what else. But I think for the most part, this is pretty much it. The indicators, the chart setup, and the symbol, once you have all those lined up, that's pretty much how my chart looks. Your chart would probably look exactly like mine if you have all your settings set up that way. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it with the setup there. Let's see. Oh, Alan's asking, I mean, to have your charts all day. So I'm not really on the charts all day, Alan. Well, I mean, you would just have your charts like at the same settings as mine, but I'm only on the charts like in the morning with you guys. So I'm really only trading from like 6:30 to 8. So if you want to have your chart set up this way, you can have it set up, but I'm not on the charts all day. I'm like rarely on the charts. That's why I'm so consistent with my profits, because I just trade in the morning. That's pretty much it. I trade sometimes in the afternoon, but not very much. Only if the market's like really good, but most of the time it's not. So I'm typically not trading unless I'm experimenting with something else. Yeah, unfortunately, there's no way for me to like live stream my charts like 24. I wish I could. That'd be awesome, right, Alan? If I could just live stream my charts 24/7, that'd be cool. But I don't think I'm able to live stream my charts like 24/7. But it would be cool because like literally you guys could just see what I'm doing all day on TradingView. But I don't think there's a way to do it personally. If there's something in the future like that, Alan, I will definitely look into it and I'll have it on. Maybe I'll create a virtual server or something. I'll just have it open all day. But I don't have any like experience or any idea how to do that yet. I know there's probably a way to do that, but I think I probably need a computer on like 24/7 to get that going. But yeah, there's no chart package right now, unfortunately. TradingView, I feel like TradingView would introduce that at some point, because they do have streams here, but you have to actually be on here to be streaming. So unfortunately, not at the moment. All right, question from Shaka. Shaka said, afternoon, Sean. How important is knowing the candlestick patterns and their psychology? As I've noted, you hardly mention candlestick patterns. However, your analysis do touch on their psychology. So for me personally, I don't really trade off candlestick patterns. I feel like candlestick patterns are very subjective. And this is just from like my experience, because I've been trading for like over 10 years now. The thing that I realized over time, because I did try to trade candlestick patterns at some point. The thing is, you don't see these patterns until they've already happened, right? Like, for example, like I'm trying to see if there's an example of a pattern here. I think the main one that I used to apply a lot before was like the head and shoulders, but I personally don't put an emphasis on candlestick patterns, because the way that I see it is if momentum is there, it's going to break right through it, right? So like, for example, you might have like a head and shoulders kind of building up right here. Let me see if I could kind of, so I'll just rewind to here, turn off the sessions, turn off the momentum, turn off the pivots. I'm just going to clean it up a little bit. So I personally don't trade patterns because I feel like patterns are not very accurate. There's a couple patterns that do play out very often though. I think double bottoms, triple tops, double bottoms, triple tops and triple bottoms, and head and shoulders. I did research on it, and those are like the highest winning types of patterns. But the thing is, like, you don't really see them happen until they've already passed. Usually if you see it play out, it's already too late. So I think there might be like some sort of a head and shoulders here. It's an ugly head and shoulders, but if you're really looking to trade a pattern, left shoulder, head, yeah, it's not a great setup, but that'd be head and shoulders right there, right? So for me personally, I don't trade this stuff, but I mean, it does work a lot of times. A lot of the times though, you don't see it until after it's like way too late, right? Like you'll see it once it's right down here, or you'll see it like when it's right here. But yeah, that's a pattern of a head and shoulders. I think that's like probably the only pattern that I personally look at most of the time. The only other things that I look at would be something like a triple top, right? But I don't necessarily look at it as a triple top, because the way that I look at these types of entries is that I look at them as using my indicator. So like, for example, if you use the high lows over here, like my high low indicator, let me just clean it up a bit. So you can see right here, if you like draw this right here, you can pretty much see these double tops or triple tops, right? Rejection, rejection, reject. I don't look at these candlestick patterns ever, really. It's just, I use this as a confluence sometimes, but it doesn't necessarily influence my entries or like the way that I enter a trade. Like, for example, today, I think Jay mentioned, where's Jay at? Yeah, so Jay over here, he mentioned this like at 742. He was like, oh, there's like a double top right here, but I didn't even care. Like he mentioned that, and I was like, I'm still taking this buy. I took the buy and it went straight to full TP. And then he actually took the buy too. He didn't even follow his analysis here with this. And he just like, he took it and then, you know, he let it play out. Because the thing with momentum, guys, is that momentum's there. It's going to blast right through it. Like, I don't expect it to come down. I'll see if I could probably find that, but like, yeah, I mean, if you wanted to use my indicators to identify patterns, you could. Like, I think it's really easy to identify double tops, double bottoms, triple tops, triple bottoms. But you'll see, like, for example, right here, it doesn't always play out, right? Like, for example, right here. Well, this is kind of an iffy type of entry because it's pretty much ranging. So what I do is I use this to identify direction, but I don't necessarily use it for like influencing my entries. Like if I see a double top here and I have an entry for a buy, I'm probably still going to take that buy, but I'll probably look at it and I'll think, okay, this is probably a risky entry. But you guys can see how my indicators here are very useful. That's why I was saying, like, you guys don't have to use my strategies, but you guys can use my indicators to improve on your strategies. Like if you don't want to trade momentum like I do, if you don't want to scalp, you can still use my indicators to identify double tops, double bottoms, head and shoulders. You know, those are the three main ones that people use and that I can identify myself because it's easy to identify. Or you can also use the support and resistance indicator, right? I have the SRB2 right here. Like this will pretty much draw the structure for you. And yeah, I mean, but so here's the thing, like this is what I was telling Jay about today too, because he was identifying the zone over here. I mentioned, because what happened was like Jay used to trade with us before and he did pretty good. And then what happened is he learned about ICT and he learned about these other types of trading concepts, like smart money concepts. And I told him, I was like, okay, if you want to trade that way, you probably shouldn't trade my way because they're going to conflict a lot. So like what he identified here is he's like so used to trading this way that I was like, all right, bro, if you're going to do this, then just don't come back to the group because I don't want you to waste time learning my strategies and then get it mixed up with your own concepts, right? It's okay to like have knowledge, but for me personally, like I've been trading for so long, I think it's better to have less knowledge because if you have too much knowledge, that's when it messes with your psychology, Shaka. So like how you mentioned, you know, how important it is to know the candlestick patterns. For me personally, if you're trading the way that I trade, it's not important at all because we have our own way of trading, right? If you put too much emphasis on like these double tops, double bottoms, support resistance, order blocks, etc., you know, these other types of ways of trading, it's going to scare you and you're not going to want to take certain trades. Like for example, this morning. So what did we have this morning? Let's go back to 8 o'clock. This morning, we had a bunch of trades come up over here, right? But typically like a normal person wouldn't take these entries because they would be scared because there'd be, you know, they would identify it as a double top. That's like something that Maddie, he's not here right now. Like Maddie this used to trip him up all the time because he would see an entry and then he would get scared because he was like, oh, bro, there's like a double top there, or there's a supply level there, or something like that. And then he would miss the entire move because he was so scared to take a trade. Like, for example, right here, there's like structure right here, right? So typically like a normal person, like if you're trading supply and demand or support resistance or whatever it may be, you would have skipped this trade here, right? And sometimes it does influence my trades because it wasn't because there was a structure here. The main reason I was influenced about this was because it was ranging, right? This was mainly what I was worried about, mostly the range, because this actually does apply with my trading style because it's one of my red flags, right? I avoid trades when price is ranging, but I'm not avoiding this trade because there's a resistance right there. I would have avoided it because price is ranging. But you can see here, you know, people are trading support and resistance or any type of price structure strategy. You guys can see that I trade momentum. So if I see momentums here, like for example, price broke and closed above it, it was momentum for momentum scalp entry, and I saw volume here is above average. I'm like, okay, this is for sure going to push up. And this is how you guys will see that my trading style is very different compared to a lot of people, because other people won't take this trade. They would have saw this and they're like, okay, I'm going to wait for the pullback, because they look for the break and retest, right? If you see a lot of people trade, what they do is they look for this right here. They look for the same thing I'm looking for, but the thing is they don't have my indicators. So they're using a naked chart. You know, it always makes me laugh when people talk about like how indicators are bad, but these indicators that I created are for specific reasons, right? So what you typically see a lot of people do when they see an entry like this, they won't enter right here, even though we already have momentum. Like, you know, we identified momentum that we knew price was going to push up higher because everything lined up. But typically what people look for is they look for a break and retest. They look for price to break above, and then they wait for that retest that never happens, right? Because if you're waiting for that retest right there, that thing is never going to come back down, right? You already missed the move at that point. At that point, you don't even have, you wouldn't be able to take anything because this thing's long gone. So for me personally, Shaka, I don't really use structure or that stuff to really mess with my psychology. I don't even bother looking at that stuff. I just follow my requirements. If my requirements are met and the red flags here are not, if there's no red flags, then I take the trade. But if there's a red flag here, but my requirements are met, then I'm going to skip it because I would consider that risky. Yeah, let me scroll over here real quick. Christian said the problem is that mostly the shoulders are dislocated. Yeah, it's never really a clean entry for that. Alan's asking, so if I go to trading view, sorry, let me just scroll over here real quick. Scroll over, right? There's a couple. Oh, you're in here, Jay. I didn't know you're in here. I don't know if this is you, King's iPhone. I don't know if this is Jay, but yeah, he said true. Made me lose a lot, to be honest. Keeping it simple is key. Yeah, no, definitely. That's really what it is, guys. Like, you got to keep it simple. Like, once you figure out a style of trading, you guys got to stick to that style. You guys can't be like using so many different concepts, because you use a bunch of different concepts, it's going to psych you out and you're never going to take any entries. You know, in the trading world, we call that analysis paralysis, right? Because you analyze things so much. Like, you could have an entry here and like you can have an entry here applying any of the strategies, but then if you're looking at other things like support resistance or anything like that, it's going to make you not want to take the trade. Even though everything lines up, you're still going to be scared to take an entry. So for me personally, the way that I recommend you guys trade is, you know, just follow one type of trading style and stick to it. Whether you want to trade supply, because supply and demand does work. Like, don't get me wrong, it works, but it's not good when you mix it with other strategies that like work well on their own. So if you want to trade smart money concepts, then trade that. If you want to trade supply and demand, then trade that. If you want to trade momentum like I do, then stick to momentum. You know, there's no wrong way to trade. It's just, you know, there's going to be some days where momentum's working. There's going to be some days where structure is working, some days where patterns are working. It's really just applying it as is. Yeah, no problem, Shaka. Definitely. Yeah, Saren said backtest the strategy Sean teaches and you'll see how it works. Yeah, I agree 100%, Sharon. You know, it comes back to like practice, guys. Like, the more you practice, the more you execute, the more it'll make sense and the more it'll click for you. Gotcha, Jay. Yeah, okay, I see you. Yeah, so that's your iPhone. Christian said he's speaking the truth. I had traded for around 5 years, learned from naked trading to indicators to harmonic patterns. The less you know, the better. Simple works over here. Yeah, exactly, Christian. 100%. Agree with you too. Yeah, Ben Harwick said that's his issue too. Yeah, I think that's everyone's issue, guys. That's why, like, for me personally, I like to train brand new traders versus training someone that has already learned a different style. Because we have a lot of people in our group that come from different groups. Like, they've been trading with these other companies and these other people who do different types of strategies, and it's hard for them to learn what I'm doing because what I'm doing is opposite from what they've learned. So it's really difficult for them to I forgot what that saying is. Like, if you guys remember, Honest used to trade with us before. I think he used to say this saying, like, you got to learn to unlearn right? Because you learn something and you realize that it's not your trading style, and then you end up stuck with that concept in your head, and then it just screws up your future learning because you're so used to just trading the first way that you learned. So for me personally, I created my own strategy. I never really learned one type of strategy. I kind of like took bits and pieces from other strategies, and then I put together my own strategies. So like I know what works for me specifically. Alan said, gee, that was too old to be a virgin. Oh man, it's too funny. So let me scroll up real quick. Let me see what other questions are up here real quick before I continue moving along. So scrolling back down, next question is from MC. MC is asking, how do you get the gold indicator? So MC, if you have the momentum indicator, just go to your momentum settings, or what this was like updated a couple of weeks ago. If you already have the momentum indicator on, just close it out and then put it back on. So close it out, go to your indicators, go to invite only scripts, go to proprietary trading system, click on that there. And then from there, go to your settings and go to inputs, turn on scalp. If you turn on scalp right here, your gold bars will come on. So if you're scalping and you're on the 1 minute, you want to set your time frame 1 to 5 minute and time frame 2 to 10 minute. Turn on scalp, and there you go. If you're trading on the higher time frames, like if you're trading on the 10, 30, like if you're trading intraday, right? 10, 30, and 1 hour, you can do the same thing here. You can turn on your gold, your momentum indicator, and you can just change it to 30 minute and 1 hour. So you can change it to different time frames, but on the scalps, we're using the 1, 5, and 10. That's how you would turn it on and set it up. But you would have to have access to the indicators in order to unlock it. Yeah, no problem, MC. Let me see what else we got over here. Let me scroll down further. Next question is from, let's see, Atepem. Atepem's asking, other than the morning, what else is ideal time to trade? So best time to trade would be morning. And then, I mean, I don't know if you're up that late, but London is the best time to trade too, because London's the second biggest market. It's like all of Europe. So London session is from midnight up until, it overlaps with US. So London's from midnight up until 8 a.m., I believe. You're probably not up at that time. So the third best time would be Asia session, which is probably the worst session. And I don't recommend ever trading during that session unless like you like absolutely need to. But yeah, I mean, if you're up at midnight, you can probably trade London session. So the way that market moves, and I'll just put like market volatility, highest, quickest market is basically from 5:30 volatility Pacific time. So quickest market is 5:30 a.m. to like 12:30 p.m. This is like the quickest market. Second quickest market is like from 12 a.m. to 5:30 because they overlap. So like you'll basically go from like London up until US. And then slowest market is 12:30 p.m. to 12 a.m. midnight. So you guys can see like it's a big difference, right? Like you'll see like this is when all the markets are open. The reason why US is the best market is because it's like it overlaps with London. So you have London session right there at 5:30. I mean, you have London session at midnight, and then it goes on till 8. So like basically this is like the second quickest market. So if you're up at midnight at the time, you can trade around, you could trade around this time, but it's still not really recommended, like not specifically for US 30, but it's because the volume isn't like 100%. It's not the, and I'll just put it here. This is a New York session. This is London session or Europe session, whatever you want to consider it. And the slowest is Asia session because this doesn't overlap with anything. So Asia session, you have the Australia market, like right now, it's 2 o'clock. Australia market is open right now. And then at 4 o'clock, the Tokyo market opens. So you'll have the quickest market, New York session, 5:30 to 12:30. This is because New York overlaps with London. London goes from midnight up until 8 a.m. So like basically you'll have like the quick times around these periods. That's why we trade from 8 until, or from 6:30 to 8, right? Because that's like the fastest time. That's where volatility is very high. So like right there, you can get in and out very quickly from the trades. This is the slowest market, Asia session, but this is probably the other market that'll work for you. So if you want to trade, and I'll just make some space here. If you want to trade during Asia session, but you're gonna see from these trades that you'll be holding on to them for like an hour or like maybe even 2 hours. So you're going to be really stressed out taking these trades. So I don't really recommend it unless like you absolutely need to, unless the market's moving kind of quick. So like if you want to trade during Asia session, I typically trade between 6 p.m. until 10 p.m. At 10 p.m., I'm usually out of trades. I'll close out like whenever it gets to this time. And this is really important that you guys, because I've learned from a lot of mistakes trading past 10 o'clock. Once you get to 10 o'clock, because this is like the warm up until London session, the market starts to move really weird. So for example, if you'll see price will be going up, it'll just randomly start coming down super heavy and it'll stop you out. I don't know if I can find an example here from like maybe last week, but typically the market starts to go opposite around that time. So let's go to Friday if I can. Let's see. So I'm not really good with military time, but you can kind of see right here. Okay, so typically if I'm trading Asia session, let me just turn off all the indicators here. Asia session, I'm usually trading from like, I really suck at military time. I think you subtract it by 2. 12, 18. Okay, so I'll usually trade right here between 1800 hours. The market's like in full swing at that time. I'll trade between like 6 and 10. But you can see it's pretty clear here how the market starts to change, right? So like looking at the market right here during Asia session, it's kind of moving, right? You can see the volume here, like price kind of moves up. Well, it goes sideways a lot. Like this is why I'm saying you'll hold on to this position for like over an hour because price will go sideways for a bit. But if you're in the proper direction, like if you know price is bullish, because I can see the trend down here is green. If you're in a buy, you see how it spikes up right here? It'll eventually hit your profit target. But at that point, it's like, how long are you going to hold on to the trade for? But you'll see like once it hits 10 o'clock, like if I'm in a position right here and I'm in profit, once it gets close to 10, like maybe like 9:30, 9 o'clock, like you can see at 9 o'clock, it starts to move kind of weird already at 1900 hours. Wait, this isn't, wait, sorry. I think this time might be off a little bit. I think it might be over here. I don't know. Well, you guys kind of get the gist of it. I kind of drew up the times right here. Basically, you see how price just goes sideways for a long time. You'll be holding on to this position for like maybe 1-2 hours. Eventually, price will probably hit. And then you'll see here at 10 o'clock, this is where you like, this is like, you don't want to be in the market at all because the market will start to move weird right here. And then eventually you get to London session over here at midnight. And then you see the market starts to take off, right? So you see how the candles here are super small. And then around midnight, it starts to pick up again. So if you want to trade at night, I would trade between 6 and 10. I would not hold any more trades past 10 o'clock. And then if you want to hop back on after midnight, and then you can trade. Unless, but I would recommend just not trading. For my personal experience, I've lost a lot of money during Asia, and I'm not going to do it again. So that's why I don't even trade during Asia. I just trade in the morning. It's better that way because, you know, sometimes less is better. Less is more because, like, for me, example, I take trades during morning session. I'll make my money and then I'll just come back the next day and reapply the same things I was doing. Okay, no problem. So let's see what else you got over here. Yeah, Christian said Asia session will take the money you made on US session. That's literally what it'll do. So I don't really recommend it unless like it's absolutely necessary. Like say, for example, you're doing a challenge and you have like 1 day to pass, right? Then okay, yeah, go ahead and trade Asia because like you don't have any other time to trade. But if you just take it steady, I think you should be fine with just trading New York session, or like even just a couple days a week should be fine. Let me scroll up real quick. Okay, so I'm going over these questions in order. I just saw your question there, Alan, but your question was like way below. So I'm going to go back up and I'm going to answer your questions again. I'm going in order. So Pam was like right above you, and I see your question right here. So Alan said, if I go trading view, your indicators, is there a fee to get them? I think that's what I'm missing. Yeah, so you're fine, Alan, no problem. I was just going in order. I didn't want you to think that I was skipping over you because I feel like people think I'm skipping over them sometimes, but I'm not. So yes, I'm not sure which package you have, Alan. I don't know if you just have the live sessions or if you have the actual indicators, but if you don't have the invite only scripts, so if you go to indicators right here and you go to invite only scripts, if you don't have this tab right here with the indicators, okay, yeah, you only have the live. So in order to get the indicators, you have to upgrade to the strategies. So if you go to the website here, let me see if I can open a private window because I don't have, I mean, I'm already logged into mine, so it's not going to show. All right, so this is what the website looks like. If you click on unlock your free access, it'll take you to a page where you have access to it. So for you, you have the live access only, this one right here. If you want access to the indicators and the strategies, you have to have this one right here. So that's how you would get access to the indicators if you want them. It's like a double-edged sword. For most people, it's a plus to have the indicators so that you can have like my charts, like you mentioned. You can have my charts open like at all times of the day, and you can look for entries yourself because you have once you have access to the course, Alan, you can pull up the course and it has literally every strategy that I apply. So everything I've ever applied during any session or even myself just in general, you have access to it. So let me see if I can pull up the course here. So yeah, if you like want to learn the strategies and you want to apply things all day, then you can do that. It's completely fine. If you go here, this is what the course looks like. So the main strategies that we apply during the live sessions, it'll all be under Kodi Kai Trades 2.0. But if you go down further, down here, you'll see all of the other strategies. So you'll see that we have a strategy over here for the SR rejection scalp. This is a strategy that we use during ranging markets when the market's just going sideways. This works very well. We use this during the summer a lot because we have a lot of sideways ranging. All the indicators are explained here. The breakout strategies are explained here too. All of the old scalping strategies. Triple confluence, you guys remember that from today's morning session. A lot of people were applying that. I think Madhu was applying it and Maddie was applying it. High-low scalp, this is one that Maddie applies a lot. Pivot scalp, that's one that Kip applies a lot. Variation V1 and 2 and 3. These are all like a lot of the main strategies that we used to apply last year. So if you have access to the strategies, this is what you'll get access to. You'll have access to this, plus you'll have access to the actual indicators. So you can pretty much trade all day if you like. But again, like I mentioned, like with Pam, it's not necessarily a good thing to trade all day, right? You want to trade when the volume's high enough because all these strategies are based off momentum. So if the market's not moving, it's not necessarily a good time to apply these strategies because everything's based off momentum. But if you do have all the indicators here, one of the easiest strategies that you can apply is the one that you were actually referring to earlier, Alan. So like, for example, you have a gold bar here. You have the trend meter green. You can literally take like every single buy here that comes up. And it's like easy money every single time, right? Because these trades do hit as long as the market is trending heavily, like it's trending enough for you to reach your target price points. Like literally hit every single trade here. Like you can even trade after the live session, and that's the benefit of having the indicators, because we stopped trading right here at 8 o'clock, right? So I'm done trading by 8 o'clock, but you can see here after 8 o'clock, there's still a bunch more entries that come up right here. right? So if you kept trading after I got off the live session, which a lot of people do, you can still make a lot of profit on your own time. The thing with me and the live sessions, guys, is that I'm looking for more of accuracy. So I'm not necessarily looking for number of trades, right? I'm looking for higher quality trades. So lesser trades, but every trade that I call out is almost guaranteed to hit. But yeah, if you want to trade yourself, I mean, there's a lot of different options here if you'd like. Let's see. Yeah, so no problem. If there's any other questions, Alan, just let me know. I think I'm done with that one there. So let's scroll down a little further and see what else is here. Saren said, Sean, can you go over the trades you took when you were in Cabo? Yeah, sure. I mean, I could try to find them. I think the timestamps are different because I was in a different time zone, but I'll see if I can probably look. But let me like answer the other quicker questions real quick, Saren, before I get to that, because that's going to take some time. So I do have your question locked in, Saren, but I'm going to scroll down a little further and see what else I got over here. Okay, quick question from Alan. Alan's asking, I have Hanko trade. I cannot trade off TradingView with him. Can I? I have to use MT4. So there's a workaround for that, Alan. What you can do is, and this is what I typically do myself too, like during that time when I didn't have my funded accounts because I was merging my accounts to a 400K account, you can create a trial account with FTMO. So you can go to FTMO. Let me see if I can pull up the website here. This is a little complicated because there's like a lot of moving pieces, but this is what I do. So like before, when I didn't have my account with FTMO, you don't necessarily have to pay for an account. You can just sign up for a trial account. So you sign up for a trial account. That's how you could get the quick trade manager, this thing right here, right? Because this only works with FTMO accounts. So if you wanted to trade on Hanko, you would set up an FTMO account and then you would set up a copier. So you saw how I have a copier here, right? With my trades. So I have a copier here and my main account will copy to the other one. So you could have your trial account up here and then you'll have your Hanko account down here. So whatever trades your FTMO account does, it'll copy over to your MT4. So, but if you want to trade directly on, you can do the same thing, but again, it's getting a little overcomplicated. Like I can do it and I can show you how to do it, but the way to do it that way is, so let me just show you the trading panel down here. These are the brokers that allow you to trade on TradingView, right? So what you can do is you can set up an MT4 account with Awanda. If you're going to see all brokers, there's actually more brokers down here. Is Awanda still on here? It should be. Oh no, it is. Duh, it's like one of the main ones. So Awanda's right here. So there's one way to do it. You can set up a demo account with Awanda, but the problem with this is you can't trade on YM. You have to trade on US 30. So then again, right there, you're kind of at handicap because you're already using a subpar broker, right? So there's ways to do it, but it's not ways that I'd recommend, because if you want to trade directly on TradingView, I think you're better off just trading on MT4 and having two separate screens. It's easier to just enter the trade on MT4 and then it's like direct. So what you can do on this is you can create a demo account with Awanda, create a demo account, but Awanda lets you create an MT4 account that logs into TradingView. So once you have that, you'll have connect here. You'll put in your whatever your login for live or demo, and then you'll execute the trades on here. When you execute the trade on here, it's going to copy over to your main account or your Hanko account on MT4. So as you can see, like I'm already going through all these loops and holes just to like execute the trades, but then you can't even trade off. Like the data here is not good. You can see the volume bars right here. This is useless, right? Because this here doesn't even show a difference. It looks like it's always above average versus on YM where you see like, you could actually see the bars where it's like over average or not. So quick answer to your question is there is a way to do it, but if you're asking me if I would recommend it, I would definitely not, especially not for you, because you're like new to, like, you're still kind of new to everything. So I personally wouldn't recommend it. I mean, eventually at some point in the future, I'm sure one of these brokers will open up that ability to trade that way. There's one funding company that used to do it, but they don't do it anymore, which is weird because that was like what they were selling everything on before. There's this funding company called Surge Trader. They used to allow you to trade on TradingView, but they don't do it anymore, which is weird. I don't know what happened. I don't know if they had data issues or they just like it didn't work out for them. But they were like the only funding company that let you trade directly on TradingView. So yeah, no, definitely. I think the best thing to do is just to have two different screens. I have three screens actually. So I have one, this big screen in front of me, which is for my trading view. And then I have my second screen over here that is like dedicated only to my MetaTrader 4. So I have like literally it's only MetaTrader 4 on there. And that's where I enter my trades. And then I have another screen where I have my chat. So yeah, I think two screens are the best option for now. Eventually, hopefully there's going to be a more streamlined option for us. But at the moment, we just got to work with what we got. Okay, let me scroll real quick. No problem, Alan. I haven't forgotten your question, Sharon. I'll get to it. Please just let me get through everything else here. And then I will definitely review those trades. I see your question right here too, Martha. So Martha's asking, Sean, can you walk us through your triple scalp strategies? I'll probably do this first before I get to yours, Sharon, because like we have to go back like so far back for us to look at those trades. So let me just go to this real quick. Or before I get to your question, Martha, I'm going to go over to the YouTube because there's a couple people in there that have asked questions like a long time ago and I haven't gotten to it yet. So Barty over here is asking, hey, Sean, you withdraw your money weekly or monthly from your funded account? I do monthly, Barty, because I don't really need the money. It's different for certain people who like live off the funded profits. For me, I've like built up profits over the years, so I don't really need the money like tomorrow, right? I'm not like, I don't need this to pay for my rent or something or pay for my car payment or anything like that. I have money already saved up. So for me personally, I only withdraw monthly. The reason for that is because every time you withdraw, you're going to have to cut off your account. Your account gets reset back to 200, right? Or 400. For me, I'm on a 400K account, so it'll get reset to 400. For me personally, I think it causes more pressure on you if you go back to 200 or whatever account size you have. Because if you're back at that baseline, if you have one loss, you're going to be in the negative, and then you're going to be stuck in that mindset where you feel like you have to recover from it. So for me personally, I just make withdrawals monthly. Maybe eventually I'll probably start doing like bi-weekly because I'm on a 400K account now. So I'm going to be making a lot more profit when I start using like a 200 lot. So with 200K account, I'm typically withdrawing monthly. Now I'm a 400K account, so I'm probably going to do bi-weekly. But I don't know. I kind of want to get on the top traders list on FTMO. So I might just leave it up there for a month, because in order to get on that list, it's like by payout. So if I get paid out every week or every 2 weeks, I'll probably never make it on that list, because you got to make at least like 10%, I believe. I think the lowest people on that list are like at least 10, 12% in profit. All right, let me see. Question from Kenneth. So my bad, dude. I saw your question here earlier and I never got around to it. So your question here said, it's been a while since I've been here, but what does the gold bar represent? Is it a shift in momentum? So the gold bar represents that momentum aligns on 3 different time frames, Kenneth. So like, for example, here, so you can see this right here, how it's a gold bar, right? This is really a green bar. What this shows is that because my settings here for the 5-minute and 10-minute, or I'll just go to the most recent one, like this one right here, right? This one that just came up. You can see over here on the 5 and 10 that these over here are both bullish, right? So you see there's a bullish momentum here on the 5 and a bullish momentum on the 10. When you get a buy signal here on the 1, that's where you get a gold bar, because you have the settings set to where you want a gold bar whenever they align. So whenever there's a gold bar here, this means that momentum is bullish on the 5 and 10. So this isn't necessarily supposed to be a standalone indicator. It's just meant to give you a hint. So like, for example, if you're applying the momentum scalp strategy, which requires you to confirm momentum on 3 time frames, it just makes it easier because you don't have to have all those things lined up. So what the gold bar does is it just shows you a momentum on 3 different time frames. So for me, I have it for scalping here, but you could also set it for any other time frame. So like, for example, here, I could set it up for the 30-minute and 1 hour. And if everything here lines up, then I'll get a gold bar on here as well on the higher time frames. So that's pretty much how you would set it up, or how it would work if you had it set up that way. Let's see. I'm just going to follow up with your next question too, Kenneth. So another question from Kenneth right here is asking, do you use YM chart to trade for US 30 now? Yeah, I use YM for all my trading now for US 30. The reason why I use YM, guys, is because this is the best data that you can get. This is data directly from the exchange, right? So you have to pay for this data. I pay about $4 a month, and it's well worth it because you get the volume data down here. Everything's accurate. So here's the thing. When you type in US 30 on your chart to pull up the asset, you'll see that they have the brokers right here, right? Currency.com. This is what we typically use, currency.com. There's Black Bull, Capital.com, Pepperstone. Like all these brokers here, they set their own pricing and they set their own data, right? So like their data here is always going to be a little different. Pricing is going to be different. Entry is going to be different. Data is going to be slower. Data is going to be faster. What I do here is I pay for YM. So when I pay for YM, I get this directly from the exchange, right? So if I type in YM right here, you can see right here, it came directly from the Chicago Board of Trade, right? So that's why you have to pay for it, because you get it directly from the exchange. If you're scalping, this is super important because you want to get the fastest data. Like whenever you're entering a trade, you want to know exactly where price is at. You don't want to have the broker like lagging behind, giving you a data that's like a couple of seconds behind, and then you end up losing the trade because price has already moved the other way. So for me personally, I use YM for everything. I'm surprised I didn't use this before. The reason why I didn't use it before is because I wanted the price to be aligned with FTMO. But like now that we're more geared towards scalping, data speed is going to be the most important thing. Like you need the fastest speed, you need the most accurate data. And in order to get that, you need to get directly from the source, which is the exchange. So there's 2 different options. I think there was a question here where someone was asking where to get it. Yeah, CJ was asking. So CJ was asking, how do I purchase the YM charts? You go to the TradingView website. I would pull it up, but it shows all my information on there. So you go to the TradingView website. Let me see if I can pull it up on here. Let me just check it real quick. Okay, so I just want to make sure it doesn't show all my settings and stuff. Okay, so it doesn't really show my settings here. So if you go to the TradingView website right here, you go to your account settings, go to your account and billing. This is what your settings looks like. You go down right here, extra data subscriptions, CJ, and I pay for the CME group. There's another one that you can pay for that's more expensive. It's like or you just click add extra market data. I already have CME group. This is the one that you want to get. There's ICE futures. It's 110 a month. I don't think it's really necessary. I think this is good enough. I know some other people in the group have this data too, but I don't think it's necessary. So for me personally, I just have the CME group. I guess they raise the price. It's $5 now. It used to be $4. Ever since I started using it, they started raising price. So it's $5 now, $60 or a little over $60 now a year. But I think it's worth it because you're paying $5 a month. And, this is giving me the opportunity to lock in like $1,000 a day. So it's definitely worth it in my perspective. So that's how you would get it right there, CJ. Okay, let me scroll up real quick. So I still see your question there, Martha. I will get to your question. Don't worry, I'm not going to skip it. I just want to get through all the quick questions first before I get to analyzing stuff on the charts here. Question from Pam. Pam's asking, if I don't want to do the FTMO challenge and want to use a personal fund instead, what platform is good? Hanko Trade? Yeah. So for me personally, I use Hanko Trade. If you go to the course, pull it up. I think I have a link there that you can use. They used to give a bonus before, but I don't know if they give the bonus anymore. But yeah, if you go over here and you go to recommended indices crypto broker, there's two different ones that you can use. There's Hanko Trade, that's one. TradeStation is, so depending on how much money you want to deposit, I would probably go with TradeStation if you have like a good amount. But then again, you're going to be risking a lot more. So I don't know, maybe. Hanko Trade, you could probably trade with like, I think at $2,000, like 2,000 minimum, or maybe even less, like 1,000 minimum. You can trade with Hanko Trade. But with TradeStation, you got to deposit like at least like 5 to 10K, right? And then the problem with this here is that if you're trading with them, it's you can lose your entire deposit, right? So with FTMO, you're kind of capped. You put like 1,200 for the 200K account for the account, and if you fail it, then that's all you lose. But with these personal brokers, you can lose your entire account, right? If you make a mistake. So you got to make sure that there's no more mistakes at that time when you start trading with these regular brokers. If you have a smaller deposit amount, Hanko Trade would be the one that you use for MT4. And then other than that, TradeStation is probably your best option, because TradeStation right here, it's supported by TradingView. So what you can do here is you can go to control panel and you can log into your TradeStation right here. And then what you can do from here is you can just trade directly on here. So like, for example, I don't have an account with them, but I have like a demo account here. Let me see if I can find it. Where's a demo account? Okay, connect. So like basically right here is like this is a demo account, right? If I wanted to trade US 30 directly on here, you just log into your TradeStation account and then you just click buy or sell on this chart, right? To trade buy stop or whatever, or sell stop. And you can just enter your trade directly on your TradingView. So depending on your deposit size, TradeStation would require more, because TradeStation is sanctioned by the US. So if you trade with Hanko over here, you're a tax accountant, so you know how this works. They're not going to send you a tax form, so you got to do all the taxes yourself. With TradeStation, they're regulated by the U.S., so they're actually going to give you a tax form at the end of the year. So your money will be safer with TradeStation. So like if you're trading a big amount, I would go with TradeStation. If you're trading a small account, I would trade with Hanko Trade. So just go on the website here. I have links to both of them there. It just depends. It's up to preference. I mean, they're both fine. The only difference with this here is for Hanko Trade, you'll be using MT4 to execute your trades. So you're going to be using it the same way you're doing now, but you can't use the quick trade manager. So that's another thing too. You can't use this tool here. If you try to log into a Hanko account on here, you try to use this tool, it's going to say it's not going to work. It only works with FTMO. There's another tool you can use. It's called Depth of Market. This one right here. But this one right here, I mean, it's the same thing. You can see how it works. You have your stop loss there. You put the same thing in here. So it's just like, it's like the Walmart version, right? You don't really have all of it. It doesn't look nice. So you can do the same thing here if you really wanted to. You just click on this if you're not on an FTMO account, but it doesn't show how much you're risking. It doesn't have the big buy or sell button. I mean, it's still a decent button, but this is another tool that you can use. So there's different ways to do it, but yeah, it's really up to preference, however you want to be running your account. Yeah, no problem. All right, let me scroll up real quick. Just want to get over the quick questions here. Nice. Good to know, Alan. Yeah, I didn't know that they had the bonus going on. All right, let me go over these other quick questions real quick, and then we'll move on to the charts. So question from Smoothing Meditation. He's asking, what's a good lot size for a 200K account? I mean, your lot size depends on your stop loss, right? Depending on, you should only be risking 1 to 3%. So if you're trading one of my strategies, then you should be using a max of 100 lot, depending on your stop loss. So like, damn, I just closed the thing too. Actually, I still have it here. Where's it at? Okay, I have the course right here. So if you're in the course meditation, you can just go over here and have lot sizes. So just scroll down to module 5, risk management. And then if you're on FTMO right here, click on this. And then it'll say FTMO 200K account. So if you're using a 200K account, you should be risking 1 to 3%, right? Your risk for this would be 2,000 for 1% risk. For a 2% it'd be 4,000, and for a 3% risk it'd be 6,000. Depending on your TP stop loss, if you're scalping with us, then like for example here, so the lot size you should be using for scalp trades would be no larger than a 200 lot size. I personally use 100 lot, so I probably just recommend you use 100. That's a 1.5% risk, but you could go a max of 200. That's going to give you a 3% risk. So for me personally, I'd recommend just using 100, but you can go up to 200 if you're using a scalp move with a 300 pip stop loss. If you're using a 500 pip stop loss, obviously it changes. Use half the lot, like about half the lot size. You can use a 120 max. 60 is what I use if I'm doing a big move like that. And then if you're using a bigger stop loss where you have 1,000 pip, I use a 30 lot. So you can see how it changes here, right? I think this is one of the big problems with a lot of people too, is that nobody ever teaches people how to use proper risk. They think that there's like a set lot size for every type of stop loss, but depending on your stop loss, the bigger the stop loss, the smaller the lot size. The smaller the stop loss, the bigger the lot size, because that's how much you're risking. So your stop loss, your lot size will really depend on your lot size depends on your stop loss. So if you want to give me your stop loss meditation, I can give you a better number for your lot size. But it's pretty simple. Like you just do the basic math, right? If you're doing like a $200,000 account, like say for example, I already did the math here. If you're part of the course, you can see it. If you're doing this is a 1% risk, 2% risk, 3% risk. And there's different ways to calculate it. If you're on TradingView, you can enter an order here. Let me see where the order window at. What's up with my TradingView? It's not loading. Yeah, so if you were to enter a trade here, I know the market's closed, but for example, if you were to enter a trade here, you can put in so this is like a 1 lot. If you're doing a 2 lot, et cetera, 3 lot, you can put your lot size there, your TP stop loss, your risk right here. It's not going to show me because the market's currently closed right now. But if you were to enter a trade, you can use this to identify it as well. This tool, or you can use a position size calculator. But realistically, it's just like using you just calculate it depending on what your stop loss is. Let's see, Kevin's asking, I use all those strategies. It just depends on the price of what it's doing. Yeah, exactly. Like Kevin killed it today. If you guys saw Kevin's profits, well, he probably didn't show you guys, but Kevin sent it to me. All right, Kevin Luck in 22,000 for the day. All wins, no losses. It's on fire. Other than that, Nice is asking, hi, Sean, do you think there is a best month to take a funding challenge? No, not at all. So that's another thing that I get that question almost every year, well, like almost every month. Someone think like people are always they're trying to time the market. There's no way to time the market, right? If you guys look at my results for like the past year, it's like impossible, because like this month has been kind of a slow month. But if you look over here to like, okay, so this month over here, you can see that it's been kind of slow, right? My total wins for the month so far are 7 wins and 2 losses. But if you look at February from last year, yeah, if you look at February from last year, you'll see that we had a super high month, right? So like, yeah, last year we were like 17 wins and 1 loss. So you can't really time the market. There's no way to really time it. I think the worst time to probably do it would probably be in the summer. But even so, like you can still have good months in the summer. Like not every month's going to suck, right? Like you can see over here that September is typically where the market picks up, but we had some losses in September. So it actually was kind of slow. But you'll see here, like early in the year, there's a lot more volatility in the market. So it's easier to pick wins out the market. But for like this year, February is not as volatile, right? We have about 7 wins so far. Last year we had 17 wins. So there's no best month to do it. It's really just getting into it and seeing it through. Because I don't think there's, and even if like the month's low, you'll get a free retry or you get a free extension if you end up going longer than the allotted time. So yeah, short answer to your question, Nice. is that there is no perfect time to trade. You just got to trade when you feel comfortable and ready. Quick question from Alan. Alan's asking, is FTMO US based? No, neither of them are US based. All of them are overseas, Alan. That's why they use MC4. The restrictions here in the US are too strict. So a lot of these companies don't open within the US. Like the margin requirements are so high. If you want to trade US 30, you'd have to have like, a couple $1,000s in that account, like 5 to 10,000. Not everybody has 5 to 10,000 to trade. So that's why a lot of people trade with these overseas companies, because their leverage is a lot higher. A lot of you guys know what happened, like when the market crashed in, I think 2008, right? That's why they have all these restrictions, because they don't want people opening accounts and then blowing their life savings on like one trade, right? There's restrictions in there to stop you from losing all your money at once. So that's the pro and con about trading with these unregulated companies, is that they'll let you lose all your money in one day if you really wanted to. But if you trade with the US company, you're not going to be able to lose all your money at once. Like you're going to get margin called out if you lose X amount of money within a day or so. So yeah, FTMO is a company that's located in where is it at? In the Czech Republic. So FTMO is located in the Czech Republic. Henko, I don't even know where Henko is located. All these companies are located in the same area. They're located in the middle of nowhere, like in the Bahamas or something. Because even in London and in Europe, they have certain laws there too, right? With regard to these types of things. So yeah, none of those two are not located here in the US. They're all overseas. Yeah, no problem. Nice. Glad I could help you with that there. It's always better to ask, right? Yeah. Nice said, yeah, cheers, man. Figured there wouldn't be, but he thought he'd check anyways. Yeah, it's a question I get very often, but it's better to ask than to guess, because now you know, and you can just do it whenever you're ready. You don't have to wait for a perfect month to do your challenge. Other than that, let me see if there's anything else here that I'm missing. All right, I think that's it. So now let's go over your question first, Stern. So Stern wanted to see he wanted to look over the trades that I took while I was in Cabo. That was on Monday last week. So that was Monday, February. Hopefully I could go back that far. I'm pretty sure I could, but let's see if I go back that far. So for those trades there, guys, there were a lot of speculative trades that I took. So, just an FYI, these aren't like normal strategies that we apply. But let me go over here real quick. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go live that day. The resort internet was like really choppy. The internet was fine. Like it was okay for me to trade, but it wasn't good enough for me to actually trade live. So this is February 6th. Yeah, and Stern's still here. Perfect. Thanks for waiting, bro. Thought you might have left by now. So let's see, on the 8th. Okay, 6th over here, 8 o'clock. So you can see over here that the market's super bullish, right? It was pretty much bullish all day. So and I'll pull up my profits from that day as well. I think I was, yeah, no, definitely. I think I took only buys that day. All right, the 6th. So the market was a little choppy because there was news that day, but I still traded because I was able to decipher like what direction price was going. Obviously it was bullish. All right, so price is bullish on the 10, bullish on the 5, bullish on the 1. It was kind of choppy. It wasn't exactly, actually, I think price was bearish. Let me go back to my profits from that day. All right, February 6th. So actually I took sells that day. So this was the day, Monday, February 6th. I took a bunch of sells actually. So all these sells right here. So sorry, I take that back. It was bearish because I stopped trading at, the time difference was different there. So we were ahead about an hour. I was done trading like when price came down here, I think. So I was only in the market for like a short while. I think I stopped trading around this time right here. Let me see if I can find the entries. That I took 7:30. Like I really wasn't in the market for that long. It's got in and out super quickly. Okay, so let me just maximize this real quick. Obviously, we were looking for sells here. So let me see if I can mark up opening price. I don't think opening price even mattered, to be honest. Okay, so that was opening price for that day. Let me see if I can find the bulk of my entries. So the timestamp here is off because there's a time difference in Cabo San Lucas versus here. But I do remember my trades happen like earlier in the session, because if you go back further, like until 8 o'clock, price was already going up. So obviously I wasn't looking for any more sells around this time, right? So there's no way I took sells here. I think all my trades came up right here. It's just kind of hard to tell because let me see if I can find it. Okay, so my first trade was like at 642, but this is more like 542 because it was an hour ahead over there. It's like 542. Yeah, I did take some pre-market trades and then a couple, well, they're all around the same period. So you can see there's only like a 20-minute difference between my first trade and my last trade. So let me just try to decipher here what trades I took. Okay, so I remember one right here. I'm just going to mark it up real quick. I'm just going to mark them up on the chart because I can kind of see where they were at. So these weren't all necessarily speculative. They were kind of just, I think this was the last trade that I took. I only went for 100 pips per trade. You guys can see all my profits here for about 1,000, right? So I took one trade right here. This was for, I took 2 trades right here, actually. So I took 4 trades. Let me just mark them up to show you where they were taken. And then we'll go over them one by one to show you exactly what I was looking for here. For most of these entries, I was applying the variation strategy. So I think I took this right here as a, I don't know if it was a V1 or V2. I forgot which one, or V3 actually. It was a very simple strategy. I think all I did was apply the variation and a high-low scalp. So that's pretty much the only stuff I did. And then another one right here too. But I think what I did here was I took this. So this is the only speculative move that I took right here, Cern. That was the first one. I can see the timestamp. Yeah, 642. Exactly. Literally on that dot. Okay, so looking at this right here, let me just and guys, these strategies they're more advanced. So like a lot of you guys here who are part of the mentorship, this stuff is like once you get really good at reading the charts and you can see entries come along, this is how you would take these entries like without even having to second guess it. So like for example over here, the reason why I took this trade right here, Seren, is because I saw price coming down and I knew that price was supposed to be bearish. That was because on the higher time frames over here. So if I go to the 6th, you can see over here that price is super bearish, right? So like basically this is what's the 6th at? Over here. So price was pretty much bearish on the higher time frame. So like I had an idea that price had to come down at some point because it was very strong for a sell. So for example, right here, I took this trade because I was writing it back down to opening price. So when I saw the sell signal here close, I was like, okay, price pushed up right here, but it needs to correct back down, right? So like if you guys see during the live session, sometimes I always mention like target price point is going to be at opening price. Like if price goes the opposite of where it's supposed to go, if price does correct back down, it has to come back to opening price. So this was the first trade that I took. Yeah, back to open, BTO. That's what I took, BTO in the direction of the trend. So I know the trend here was temporarily bullish, but I knew price was going to come back down. So that's why I took this one right here. This was the first entry. First one I took. Next one I did was I waited for price to come around. I wanted to confirm the sell over here. So the next entry that I took here was, I think it was a V3 or a V1. I didn't really, oh yeah, it was right here. So I knew it was at opening price, but I saw the rejection off this point, and this is what I was looking at. I saw the double top. So I know I typically don't look at these rejection points as like entries, but I saw these two reject off this point. And this entry right here, I was applying, I think, the V3. So variation V3. Yeah, confirmed bias. I knew the overall bias was a sell. You see the trend meter is red. I knew price was going to come back down. We got a high right here. Confirm the high is a green candle. So the high is a green candle right here. Following candle is opposite. So we had a high here, the green, opposite was a red candle. And then I know there's supposed to be a pending momentum, but I already knew price was going to come down. So that's why I took this here for a V3. Again, a speculative move, blasted right through it. You can see the timestamps here. These happened like a few minutes right after each other. And then the last two happened down here, like literally right after each other. Price came down lower. And then we had another, you got a V1 here, right? Oh, we had a V2 actually. Okay, so for my entry right here, we had a double top, right? Double top right here. That was a variation V2. And you guys can see I have like 20 strategies here. So if you guys have my strategies, you guys can have access to it. This is a V1 variation or a V2 variation. Not to mix these up with the momentum scalps, but this is another strategy that I haven't really taught to the new people unless you guys have been around for a while. There's a double body rejection right here. This is a reversal pattern. So like you can see price came down right here, came back up. We had a double top right here off the high. This double top here indicates that price is likely to drop at least a little bit, right? So with that said, I already knew price was going to come down. We had a pending sell signal. I took the sell right there, and then I let the trade run, blasted right through. And then this was just, I wasn't supposed to take this one, but I was like, okay, I saw it happen again right here. It played out a second time. Or actually not a second time. What I had right here was a continuation of the move. So with this right here, this was a high-low scalp. So you guys can see, like, whenever I'm in the zone, I can just flow with the trades. Like, I'm not even really thinking about it because I wasn't on the live session. So I was able to take trades without worrying about explaining this to people and making sure people weren't getting confused, right? I was just entering trades off my analysis. So I saw price coming down here. You saw this low right here. Price broke and closed below. I know this kind of violates it a little bit because price did touch it. But for me, I already knew price was going to keep dropping. So I saw the sell right there. Price broke and closed below it. So there's a couple of things here that I violated, but I still took it because my analysis is playing out perfectly. Overall bias was a sell that met, confirmed the high low. There's a low right there. Confirmed price break and close past it. Price broke and close off this candle. Fourth, confirmed price is trading the direction of momentum. There was no sell signal here. So that's one thing that I actually skipped over, but I knew price was going to come down because I was looking on the higher time frames. And I knew price had to keep dropping. So confirmed price wasn't ranging. It was breaking below, so it wasn't. And that's where I took this last trade. So at this point right here, I took this and then it blasted right through. So that's pretty much all the trades I took during my time.